Hey, I'm Jocelyn Jackson, and I am the New York Times bestselling author of 10 books, most recently Mother May I, and I am really happy to be here to talk with the Alabama Booksmith a little bit about Mother May I. It is my second foray into domestic suspense or a thriller that sort of centers around real people and real lives instead of being like an international spy thriller or whatever. It's the story of a woman named Bree Cabot. And Bree grew up really upwardly mobile. Like she grew up sort of on the very bottom rung of middle class, that thing where you have a place to live and you're not food insecure, but where one little thing, if your car breaks down, like your family doesn't really have the resources to recover from any big kind of problem. And she got a scholarship, she went to college, she married very, very well. She's now upper middle class, and her husband's family is just actively 1% kind of wealthy people. And she has two beautiful girls in middle school, and she and her husband, Trey, kind of had an oops baby who came along 12 and 13 years after the first two. Oops, but they like him. You know, they're very happy that Robert came along. He was a very happy accident. And she's at her daughter's play rehearsal, and she looks away from Robert for just 1 second, and he is gone. And in his place is a note that says, "Go home. Don't call the police. Don't call your husband if you ever want to see your child again." And if you've ever read a Jocelyn Jackson novel, I don't think I need to tell you that, I mean, this is not a straight up kidnapping and ransom kind of a book. In my books, the past has a pulse and it has teeth, and the past is absolutely coming for Bree Cabot. She learns that the kidnapper is a woman. And also a mother, which is very surprising to her, but also like a little comforting. Like she thinks that's going to be safer. And she has this feeling like as this goes on, the woman just wants her to do one little thing, which is much more complicated than she expects and is going to have terrible repercussions. But seems like a very simple little favor that all you have to do is this to get your child back. But she also learns that this woman is a mother, which is, I think, it's shocking to her that another mother who ought to be able to empathize and understand what this would be like can be treating her this way. At the same time, like, they sort of understand each other. Like there's almost this weird, Stockholm syndrome is certainly a part of it, but there's a weird empathy that grows up between these two characters. And yet each of them in her own way is fighting for her own child. So even though they grow to understand each other, and this woman who has the baby, like, she's like Bree. She was that kind of barely clinging to the lowest rung of middle class, but where Bree was upwardly mobile, her family's fortunes went the other way. And so like Bree had all these second and third chances, and this woman didn't. So they're both fighting for their child, which means that there can't be, you know, they are heading for an inevitable conflagration. It's a really fun ride. It's a thriller, but it's also like, I think it's a great book for book clubs, because it really is about privilege and who gets second chances. I think that a lot of the reason that I've kind of changed genres, you know, I'm mostly known for writing Southern women's fiction for the first 15 years of my career, and now I'm writing these more mystery suspense kind of books. I really think that has to do with my work with an organization called Reforming Arts, which we are in partnership with Georgia State University and other institutions to bring higher education into Georgia's women's prisons. Before the pandemic, I spent 7 years teaching inside the maximum security facility here in the state of Georgia. And I think that has sort of changed my focus. I think I have a greater understanding about the disparity of justice that we have in this country. And it's something that, like, who gets second chances really matters, how economic privilege makes a huge difference, the gap between the have and the have-nots. Like, there's tons for your book club to talk about in this book. I really hope that you guys will get your signed first edition from the Alabama Booksmith, which is my dear oldest friend in the book business. Honestly, this is the first bookstore that ever read my book and paid me any attention and helped my books find readers. It was my parents' local bookstores, and after my book sold, I went by and met the booksellers, and it was just an amazing experience. So I love this store. They specialize in signed first editions. Every copy that, and because it's a pandemic, I'm not touring. This is one of the places you can always get signed Jocelyn Jackson books and so many other fantastic signed first editions. Thank you guys so much.